There's a quiet shift happening in the world right now, and if you've been feeling a little different lately, more sensitive, more reflective, more called to something deeper, you're not alone. For a long time, power was defined by how much control someone had over others. It was about hierarchy, domination, and fear. But something has changed. The world is tired. People are waking up. And those who've been silently doing the inner work, those who've chosen compassion over judgment, presence over distraction, healing over hiding, are beginning to realize that they are the ones leading us forward. Spiritual people are not new. They've always been here walking among us, teachers, mystics, seekers, quiet observers. But now they're being called into the light, not to preach or perform, but simply to be who they are in full alignment. In a culture obsessed with doing, they are the ones returning to being, and that is revolutionary. You see, we live in a world that profits off our disconnection from ourselves, from each other, from the earth, and from the divine. We are taught to chase success, external validation, and material comfort, often at the expense of our well being. But spiritual people are starting to say there has to be another way. Not because they are better, but because they've seen what happens when we betray our inner knowing for too long. They've lived the burnout. They've experienced the anxiety, the depression, the chronic stress that comes from living out of alignment. And they've made the radical decision to pause, to turn inward, and to listen. That's the revolution. It's not loud. It's not flashy. It doesn't make headlines, but it's real and it's growing. Spiritual people are redefining what power looks like. They are creating sacred spaces in their homes, setting boundaries around their energy, and choosing to heal ancestral patterns instead of continuing them. They are opting out of the hustle mentality in favor of presence. They are asking deeper questions, not just about what they do, but about who they are and why they're here. What makes this movement so powerful is that it's rooted in authenticity. There's no dogma. There's no one-size-fits-all blueprint. It's personal. It's intimate. And it's courageous because walking a spiritual path means facing yourself, your pain, your programming, your fears, and your desires, and choosing love anyway. And that takes guts. It takes guts to meditate when your mind is racing. It takes strength to forgive when every part of you wants to stay bitter. It takes faith to let go of something that's no longer aligned, even if it's comfortable. It takes inner conviction to say, this is not who I am anymore, and to rebuild from the inside out. Spiritual people are the new revolutionaries because they are building a new world, not through violence or power grabs, but through healing, through transformation, through integrity. They are parents choosing conscious parenting, breaking cycles of trauma with patience and gentleness. They are teachers bringing mindfulness into classrooms, reminding children that their emotions matter. They are friends who hold space, who listen without fixing, who speak truth with compassion. They are caregivers, artists, entrepreneurs, and healers, infusing their work with soul. They are people like you and me, choosing every day to align their lives with deeper meaning. And no, they're not perfect. They still get triggered. They still have doubts. They still wrestle with fear. But the difference is they return. They return to the breath, to the body, to the moment, again and again. They're not running away from life. They're turning toward it with open hearts. And that's the revolution. Because when you heal yourself, you don't just change your life. You ripple healing into everything you touch. Your relationships shift. Your choices shift. Your presence becomes a balm for others. You become the kind of person who changes the energy of a room simply by being in it. That's the quiet magic of a spiritual life. We've spent generations trying to fix the world from the outside in, through politics, policy, protest, and while those things are important, they're not enough. The real transformation happens when people begin to live from a place of awakened presence, when they stop numbing, stop escaping, and start embodying truth. when they listen to the still small voice within and trust it more than the noise of the world. This is not about bypassing pain or pretending everything is fine. In fact, spiritual revolutionaries are the first to admit that the path is messy. They know that healing requires feeling, that evolution isn't linear, that some days growth looks like crying in the shower. But they also know that those moments are holy, that showing up even when it's hard is sacred work. And the more they show up for themselves, the more they naturally show up for others. Because spiritual awakening doesn't make you more isolated, it connects you more deeply. It reveals the illusion of separation and reminds you that we're all part of something greater, that the pain of one is the pain of all, and that the healing of one becomes the healing of many. This is why community is so important. Spiritual people aren't meant to go it alone. We need each other. We need safe spaces where we can be raw and real, where we can be seen, not just for our light, but also for our wounds, where we can grow without fear of judgment and love without fear of rejection. Because the truth is, we're stronger together. And the new world we're building will not be created by one leader, one teacher, one guru. It will be woven by many hands, many hearts, many souls choosing love again and again. So if you've ever felt like you don't quite fit in, if you've been called too sensitive or too deep or too much, if you've ever found yourself craving silence while the world gets louder, if your soul has been whispering that something more is possible, then you are not broken. You are being called to awaken, to remember, to lead, not with ego, but with essence, not to control others, but to embody your truth. Because in a world that is constantly telling us to look outside for answers, the revolutionary act is to go within. And when you do that, when you trust yourself, when you live in alignment with your values, when you honor your energy and follow your intuition, you become a lighthouse for others, not by saving them, but by showing them that it's safe to save themselves. That is the revolution. It begins with you, with every breath you take in awareness, with every boundary you set in love, with every moment you choose presence over reaction. You are not too late. You are right on time. And the work you're doing, even if no one sees it, is changing everything. Because spiritual people are the new revolutionaries, and your presence is enough.